Cool.
Alrighty,
Outside today,
lovely day for it.
taking advantage of the last little bits of summer.
Summer?
If you can call this anything.
No, I'm not going to call this
Just a
summer.
little-
I'm going
a
to
little
call
bit of-
this. I'm going to call this autumn
Yeah.
officially.
Yeah.
I'm calling this one.
No, definitely.
But yes, lovely Johannesburg winter, it's crisp, wintry air, it's pollution-free. I think people listening will hear the birds every now and again.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have lots of those and more.
Cool. So, what's on the agenda today?
Well, you know, we're gearing up to launching the website and our official sandbox submission, and we'll be unpacking that post the delivery of all of that, and we'll be unveiling it soon
The delivery's on Friday, eh?
on Friday. I didn't want to say it. I'm in denial. Still a bit of work to do, but anyway, that's the nature of this. So, but what is the crux, the core? We said the crux was the digital rand, and that's the pivot that everything revolves around. But it's not really the crux. The crux is that we have created a mechanism to fund small businesses on a sustainable basis, on a sustainably profitable basis. And why that is so important right now is because those SMMEs in South Africa, and I'm going to say maybe businesses with less than 50, maybe even 100 million, are the ones who've been neglected the most by any relief. Right. And the knock-on impact of those businesses not reopening, of those businesses failing, is probably going to be bigger than the impact of the shutdown.
Sure.
So what we have done is we've created a platform that can solve that. So what are we going to do? We're going to be pumping billions into loans for these small businesses. But when I say loans, they're not repayable. It's not going to put them under pressure.
Interest-free, all of that.
Interest-free, and we take a levy and administration fee off the turnover. It's as simple as that. And then what we have on the back end of that is a funding model where we go to the capital markets and raise the capital to do that. And we have a waterfall bond structure that allows us to manage and mitigate the risk. We have an insurance component to it that makes sure that we can service our debt, etc., etc. So, all of this will be unfolding over the next while in more detail, and lots and lots to follow. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to put an initial questionnaire out there, and it's on the link here, there.
Depends on the platform. It's going to go out on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. But
click on the link.
We'll just make sure that there's a link in the description. Yeah.
And what we need to do urgently is we need to start to gather the numbers and the data so we can start securitizing the funding. In other words, what am I trying to say? Every small business that needs funding needs to register, send us their data. Anybody who wants to, right, is going to have to sign up. But what I'd like is a couple of sort of test cases just to get the processes tested and ready for scale. Because essentially how the process is going to work is as follows. The Maven network, which is largely a network of small businesses, entrepreneurs, people who run their own business, but experts in various fields and industries, are going to help us come up with a mechanism to do this at scale. to qualify for funding, you're going to have to do very little in terms of paperwork. We're going to use social proof a lot to vet people. And the whole idea behind it is that we will give you money to fund you through. The objective, right, is to give businesses the money to fund them through this. Cover their basic overheads to stay shut. Cover the gap in their salary that's not covered by other relief efforts. Pay them a salary for the profit that they would have lost, or at least something reasonable that they can live on, right? And we need to, and that's going to take billions, hundreds of billions.
Yeah, that's
but it has to be done. And we have a plan to raise that money and the way to roll it out. And what's clever about our plan is that on the other side of that, we're going to be giving people in communities money to go and spend at merchants. So when it opens up, people are going to have cash that they can spend, and until we open up,
supporting those small businesses
we're going to, so this is a very sophisticated. It's taken 10 years to put all the pieces together to do this, but so that's a very long story. See how quickly I'm trying to get through the whole thing, because today's not about that, because that's a long story. And in the meantime, the mavens who are watching this, our audience, we have certainly now a global band of regular followers. If you guys can just take this link and share it in your community, and we don't want millions of people to sign up just yet. Just share it with people, explain the concept, and we'll get the thing going. It'll give us a chance to just iron out any last kinks. So more details to follow on that.
It'll be a shareable link. We'll use Typeform. It's nothing you have to download and fill out.
Awesome.
It'll just be click, add your details.
And the beauty is it works on every phone. It's mobile.
Works anywhere.
Yeah. So if you know someone who's got a small business that's looking for funding, share this link with them. Now, just to go through the criteria of what we're looking for, is we're not targeting startups, we're targeting going concerns that were profitable businesses that have been impacted. That's it. You have to be in South Africa. You don't have to be a South African citizen. You have to be in South Africa. It doesn't matter what your ethnic background or your religion. This is something for everybody.
And your credit status, none of that sort of
stuff.
None of
that stuff. All we're going to want to do is we're going to have a look at historically what was your business doing, and how can we then help manage you through to get to the other side where you're going to be a profitable business again, because that's where our interest lies. We're not going to get the money back unless we can collect it over time through 3% of your turnover, whatever it is. So, which is where we think, actuarially, we've worked it out. We think we can do it for that, and it's going to take a couple of years, maybe 10 years to get that money back. But we'll get the money back, so that makes it a financeable project. So yeah, and it's going to be open to any businesses, and also we have a lot of expertise in collecting the data. We want to make it as quick and as automated as possible. But Mavens will be helping. We'll be calling on industry experts to find better ways. I think with a lot of these things, the financing is about finding ways to say no. It's risk mitigation. We want to bring experts in to find ways to say yes. How do we mitigate the risk? How do we make sure that we're going to get paid back? Because that's the golden rule here, right? We have to get our money back. Otherwise, it's going to be inflationary. It's going to devalue the currency for everybody. If we just give money away and you don't get it back, all it does is it dilutes it for everybody, makes everybody poorer. It's why the grant isn't a sustainable model. This is, but we'll unpack that later. So there's the link. Sign up, get a few people to get in the queue so we can start to collate our data. And then we're also going to be sharing the data with the community so people can get a sense of where they're at, because and the website will be the go-to place for information, because all I can tell you is that I know that there are a lot of people who watch us who've got their own businesses who can see this train coming. They're running out of resources. You're not alone, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Absolutely.
Help is on the way. We're going to help each other, because that's the secret.
Okay, fantastic. Cool.
Peace out.
Peace out.